This is the best book I've ever read, and here's why. What's up, everybody? This is Tony back with another video. In today's video, I just want to talk about the book I just finished. This book has moved up the ranks to my favorite book of all time, and I've only been reading since the last couple months. But anyway, so originally I think I did a video. I get mixed up. I don't know what I've published and what I haven't. Not too long ago, I read a book by Riley Sager. It was my first book from Riley Sager, and it was called The Last Time I Lied. I don't know why I picked that one. I don't know why I chose to read it first, whatever. So anyway, I gave it some reviews, and I didn't give it that great of a review, I'm gonna be honest. And I was like, okay, a lot of people love Riley Sager, but his books are just not for me. Blah, 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 whatever. So then I had bought a whole bunch, well, maybe like 3 or 4 Riley Sager books the last time I went to Barnes & Noble. And of course, being the type that doesn't like to waste my money at all, I'm like, I'm gonna read these books regardless, but I don't think I really like his style, but I'm gonna give it a shot. So the next book I chose to read was Lock Every Door, which I think is one of the books that he's most famous for. This is a New York Times bestseller. It says on the, let's see, I'll just show you the cover. It's like really creepy. It's like this pinkish purple, pink letters, background's kind of like a purplish color. And if you look real closely, you can see like a shadow running like through a door or something. And so it says Urban Paranoia has a deliciously gothic new address. That was one of the reviews. This book, if you like thrillers, if you like to be surprised, if you like the best plot twist, if you like to maybe be a little bit spooked out, this is definitely the book for you. Now, I'll say like what I've mostly been reading is Freida McFadden. Her books are great. Don't get me wrong. I still love her books. I'm still going to read more. I still have more already in my stack of books to read. Don't get me wrong. I still love Freida McFadden. Her books, though, to me are not really creepy. They're good psychological thrillers. I'll put it like that. Riley Sager's books, to me, the only 2 that I've read so far, they have this like creep factor to them that I really like because I'm a fan of horror movies. I'm a movie fan, a big time movie fan. And for movies, I like horror, thriller, and mystery. But I don't really think I can sit down and read a horror book because I just don't think I would be interested in that because it's kind of like, a slasher going around slash people. So I don't think I would be interested. But I like things that kind of play with your mind, and that's why I kind of like the mystery slash thriller kind of books. But anyway, that's beside the point. So Riley Sager's is, like mystery because you can't really figure it out, slash thriller because you know why. But then it's like his books are like super creepy because like in Freida McFadden's, like you don't hear bumps in the night or see shadows and all that kind of stuff. And in Riley Sager's, you do. So far, the 2 books that I've read. But anyway, so this book starts out, the main character, and if I get the characters' names wrong, I tried to make some notes and everything, but I'm just not, even in real life, I'm not real good with names, so I might have the names wrong or whatever, but I try. So the main character's name is Jules. And this is a theme, like in most of the books I read, there's always some poor person that's really down their luck, either homeless or living in a car or living on somebody else's couch. But anyway, so it's Jules. She's like 25-ish, and she currently just broke up with her boyfriend. I believe his name is Andrew, and she's staying at her best friend's house, Chloe. She doesn't have any family. She had one sister named Jane that died several years ago, and both her parents are also deceased. So she has no family or anything. So she's staying with her best friend, Chloe. So she just got fired from her job. Obviously not, she doesn't have a degree in accounting, or anything like that can just land her a quick job or whatever. So she's looking for something, and she finds an ad, I think online or whatever, for a position, and it's really vague, and it says something like they need somebody to be a house sitter. So this takes place in New York, which seems like almost all the books I read take place in New York or somewhere like Northeast, like Boston or something. But anyway, this takes place in New York, like in the Manhattan area. And there's this apartment building that's really popular and everything called the Bartholomew. And she knows about this place already. It's like the place everybody wants to be. Only the rich people can live there. And there's a book that people her age read as a youth called something Dreamer. I don't remember. It was a popular book like for teens and preteens and stuff. And it was about a young girl who lived at the Bartholomew and was just about her life, and everybody wanted to be her or whatever. So she knew all about this place, and she, it's just like a dream come true. She gets to live there. And so basically what she would be doing is being an apartment sitter. An apartment sitter is basically, you're not like a real tenant. You kind of stay there. You keep everything clean and neat, and you're just like house sitting for somebody that doesn't live there, that's never going to come back. At this place, they want somebody to like occupy all the apartments, so they don't like to keep them empty or whatever. So she'd be doing that. And then she would get paid like, I think it's like, it's like $1,000 a week. Yeah, she get paid $1,000 a week. Now she's flat broke, like literally doesn't have any money. So $1,000 a week, that's like, oh my gosh. And she like has bad credit, all her credit cards are maxed out or whatever. She's in debt, barely can keep her cell phone on and all this kind of stuff. And so this is like, she's like, oh my God, this is a dream. All I have to do is sit here and sit in this apartment, in this nice apartment, mind you. And so she goes there, she meets the lady. Her name is Leslie Evelyn. And she's this bougie lady. She wears Chanel suits and all this kind of stuff or whatever. So she's showing her around and everything and telling her there's all these rules. Like you can't have any visitors. You can't stay overnight somewhere else. You can't be nosy. You can't go up, because like there's like movie stars and everything living in here, dignitaries, surgeons, you name it, that live in this apartment. You can't go up to them, and ask, can I have your autograph or anything like that. You can't be nosy, nothing like that. It's all these rules. Basically, you just come there, you stay in the apartment, keep it clean, and then when you're all done, after 3 months or whatever, you move on with your life. And so she's like, okay, cool. And so she ended up getting the job right away. And so, they ask you all these, questions or stuff, not anything too nosy or whatever, but they ask you some questions about your life and everything. They let you know, they've asked you, do you have a boyfriend, or a significant other or whatever, because they can't be spending the night over here. You can't have anybody visiting and all that. And so Jules is like, okay, cool. I don't have anything. So yes. So she ended up taking the apartment. She only had like a little bit of stuff she brought with her because she's poor, like I said. And so the apartment is like really creepy. It's like right by Central Park. It's like overlooking it. It's a wonderful view. Anybody would want to live here. But what's creepy to me was something that I don't like. There's a couple things that's creepy about the apartment, actually. Number one, all the rules. That's like too many. You can't have nobody come over, and you can't. I can understand not staying the night, because the point is they want you to house sit. But you can't have anybody come over visit, just like even come and have lunch or whatever. Nobody, no visitors. So that's like creepy to me. The other thing is there's gargoyles all around. I don't know about anybody else. I don't like no gargoyles. To me, every time you look around at a movie or something, there's some gargoyles, sitting out there or whatever. You asking for trouble or whatever. It's always something evil about them. So there's gargoyles all around. That didn't bother Jules though, but it bothered me. The next thing that's creepy to me, and this, anytime you watch any kind of thriller or horror movie, if they have this in their house, you're asking for trouble, and that is a freaking dumb waiter. This place is sold, it was like built in like the early 1900s, and they like, they've kept it up, but they kept it looking like the old kind of way. So there's a dumb waiter. And I hope everybody knows what a dumb waiter is. A dumb waiter is, you may have seen them in the movies. It's when like you can open this little door in the wall and you can put like some food, whatever, a package or whatever in there, and then you pull the string and it'll go down to the next floor, the bottom floor. And this is an apartment with like 12 floors. And mind you, I forgot to mention, she's in 12A or 12B. She's on 12th floor, the highest floor. But anyway, and the dumbwaiter can go up and down. Well, long time ago, what the dumbwaiter was using this building is because the servants stayed in this apartment. They cooked there so they could send like food down and stuff. But anyway, dumbwaiters are always, just check out any movie with a dumbwaiter. There's always something creepy that happens. And you can imagine having that in your house. Where some little thing opens up and somebody jumps out or something at you. It's always trouble. But anyway, that was also another thing that was creepy about the building. So the apartment building also had like a doorman. His name was Charlie, I believe. He was a really nice guy and everything. But yeah, so she moved in and everything. So it turns out I don't do spoil. I'm not saying I'll never do a spoiler on my videos, but this is not going to be a spoiler. I'm not going to give it away. Major plot twists at the end. More than one plot twist. She's there. It's creepy. She breaks one of the rules and she goes up and meets this lady who used to be in a soap opera or whatever. The lady's really rude to her. She also meets another older lady that, come to find out, is the author of that book I was telling you about that all the young girls had read a long time ago. And she's like in her 70s now. Really, none of the tenants are like all extra friendly. Charlie Doorman is, but then she meets this other guy named Nick, who's a surgeon that lives, I think he lives on the, no, he lives on the same floor, the 12th floor. She's in 12B, I believe, and he's in 12A. And he's really nice, and they start hanging out, and they're talking and everything. And then also, you know, fast forward a little bit, she also meets a young lady named Ingrid. But I do want to say this book, like every book I read, and I guess this is, I'm new to books, so I don't know what happens in a book. But anytime there's like a backstory in the book, the authors, well, Riley Sager and Frida McFadden do, they go back and forth like between chapters, kind of. Sometimes they do 3 chapters and then they'll go back to the background. They'll do like now, present time, and then in the past. And so actually, I forgot to mention how this book actually starts off is in the present, and she's like, doctors are checking her and, you know, checking her vitals and everything. She's banged up, she's hurt. And come to find out, and she's, you know, like in a hospital or whatever, come find out she had been hit by a car. And the doctor's asking her all these questions and stuff. And she was like, I was trying to escape or something like that. That's how it starts. That's now. So everything else I'm telling you about when she moves into the apartment and everything, that's like 5 days prior or whatever. So she meets this girl named Ingrid, probably and they ran into each other in the lobby, and Ingrid was on her phone doing something. She ends up bumping into Jules with all these groceries, and she ends up dropping them all. They break. She gets cut by something, and, you know, that's how they kind of bumped each other. She still didn't really know her at that point, but they end up meeting later and actually talking to each other. And also, her Jules' friend Chloe, she it's kind of like, why do you want to stay in that creepy place? Everybody knows, you know, it's haunted, and just all this rumors and all these, you know, tales and about what has happened in this place a long time ago. Supposedly a lot of people have died, and a lot of creepy things have happened over the years. It's all over the internet and stuff. She's like, why do you want to even stay there? She sent her even an email with a link, you know, with some more information on it. And Jules kind of like, look, I'm broke, I need the money, so I don't really care what happens. I can make it this little bit of time just so I can get back on my feet. Well, she ends up meeting with, and I'm skipping over parts purposely because I don't want to give too much away, but she ends up the whole center or nucleus of the story is when she meets up with Ingrid, another young lady who's also an apartment sitter. So there's 3 at this time. There's Jules is one, Ingrid is one, and another guy named Dylan, who they don't really talk to him or anything. And so Ingrid, they end up going down to Central Park and meeting. They were just talking and everything. Ingrid's kind of like, she's been there longer than Jules, just by a little bit. But she's like, you know, saying this place is creepy, but she won't really elaborate and stuff. So it just kind of leaves it at that. And then, so one night, Jules hears, well, she always hears like creepy noises in the middle of the night or whatever. Like it sounds like somebody's walking in her apartment, but she can't like find anything or whatever. But one night she hears a scream, and she knows it's like, no doubt this is a scream. I don't, you know, whatever. And so since Ingrid lives right below her on the 11th floor, it sounded like it was coming from there. And she was kind of like, no doubt, I know it is. So she went downstairs and knocked on Ingrid's door. And Ingrid kind of answered the door, but she didn't open the door all the way. She's kind of like looking through a little crack or whatever. And she was acting kind of funny. She wasn't like the chipper person that she always is. And she was like, I thought I heard a scream. And Ingrid's like, no, not from here or whatever. She's like, well, are you okay? Ingrid just kind of, you know, was like, yeah, I'm fine, you know, smiling like that. And so Jules kind of like knew it was kind of weird. And so she ended up, and she also knew Ingrid like had her hand in her pocket. That's going to be like a key later on. But anyway, so Ingrid ends up closing the door. Jules goes back and she's like, I know that was weird or whatever. So the next day, what Jules ends up finding out is that Ingrid no longer is there. And so she's like trying to find out what happened to her, because like they had set a thing where they're going to meet for lunch like every single day, and she didn't show up. And that's how she ended up, Jules found out that she wasn't even there anymore. She's like, this is weird. She was texting her, calling and everything, getting no response at all. And so she went to the head lady, you know, like kind of like the apartment manager, that Leslie Evelyn, I think her name was Leslie Evelyn. And she was like, you know, have you seen Ingrid or whatever? And she's like, oh yeah, she moved. You know, it's just kind of like really vague. She moved in the middle of the night or something. And Jules kind of like, okay, that's like weird. And so anyway, I don't want to, I'm kind of just going to stop right there, because if I tell any more, it's kind of like going to give away the story. But I will say there were several plot twists. And if you want to try to be like me and be a sleuth and figure it out, everything, I actually took a class where you write scripts, and scripts are different than movies, but it just like taught me something that I really focus on when I watch movies and now when I read books. whenever something, unless somebody's a horrible screenwriter or a horrible author, if something random is mentioned, most of the time there's a reason for it being mentioned. And so if you see, if they, like somebody, like you're watching a movie and they zero in on an ink pen on the floor or something like that, for some reason that's like stupid. Or somebody has to like actually mention, you know, I'm allergic. They say somewhere in the movie, I'm allergic to bees. You know dang well later on in the movie that somebody's gonna, you know, put a beehive by their bedroom window or something like that, and they're gonna get stung and die. Or if they mention like, you know, oh, the mom says to the kid, don't forget to take your inhaler for asthma or whatever. You know later on the crazy babysitter is gonna hide the inhaler and give the child something that makes them have an asthma attack or something like that. Anyway, I'm just saying, like this book, I keep calling it a movie. This book, once I go back after I finished it, I was like, oh, I should have known this. I should have figured it out, because there was like clues the whole time. But it really, Riley Sager really focuses on this one situation, and I'm gonna say like the place being haunted, cursed, and like the cult, and you know, what do you call it, cavern cave or something, I don't know, whatever, a group of people who practice like witchcraft kind of like stuff, symbols and all that kind of stuff. He really zeroes in on that. So focus on that, but don't also focus on everything else if you want to try to figure it out before you get to the end. So anyway, I said all this to say I really wanted to make this video because in the other video, like I said about Riley Sager, I was like, I'm gonna finish these books that I have on my shelf, but I don't think I'm gonna buy any more of his books because his writing is not my style. In the first book that I read, The Last Time I Lied, the reason I didn't like say he gives too much description, he doesn't give too much description. It's just that what he was describing, I had zero interest in. And so there's kind of like a huge difference. Like I said, in that book, the main character, she was really artsy. And so a lot of times he was describing pictures. And I felt that there was no relevance to that, or he could have spent like a couple sentences describing it where he was like really getting all these descriptions and stuff. And art and pictures kept coming up a lot in the book. And I'm just like, I have zero interest in that. So it just like kept losing me, and it was really hard for me to finish that book. This, he's descriptive. You can use your imagination some, but he's descriptive in this book too, but it didn't bother me at all. And this is actually a book that I couldn't put down. And also, I don't know how many of you have watched all my videos prior, and I just keep saying I love Freida McFadden, and the first book I ever read was The Co-Worker by Freida McFadden. I said hands down that is my favorite book. I gave it the highest rating of any book I ever read. I said this is it. I love this book, you know, whatever. I also said in another video that I'm like the teacher who doesn't like to give an A, because I'm always like, well, the next book might be better, you know, or like a teacher, the next paper might be better. So if I give this person the A, you know, and then this person put in way more effort, what am I going to give them? And I know that's kind of like silly. I actually don't like, I just didn't like teachers like that or whatever. But this book, and I'm so surprised at myself that I'm even saying this, I give this 5 stars. I've never given any book 5 stars. Even Freida McFadden, her book that was the best book to me, I gave it 4.5. And really now I'm thinking back, I really probably want to make that like a 4.3 or something like that. But anyway, I'm just trying to keep it simple. But this definitely is a 5-star. I can't wait to read the rest of Riley Sager's books. And in another video, actually I might film it right after this one, I'm going to do my anticipated thriller reads for 2024. And I know Riley Sager has something new coming out, and he might have 2 books coming out in 2024. So I can't wait for that. But there's a whole bunch of old ones that I need to read as well. So if you like this video, thumbs up. Also comment. You can just comment and say what's up. I don't care. If you're not already a subscriber, click on the subscribe button and the notification button so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And again, I highly recommend this book if you like thrillers. If you haven't read this already, you need to read this book. Start off 2024 right and get this book. But anyway, I will see you in the next video.